There are some mysteries which cannot be explained even after conducting hundreds of investigations. One such terrifying mystery was solved in Brazil in the year 1966. But even after half a century, nobody knows what really happened in that case. In fact, the case remained unsolved because of the bizarre things related to it. 2 men were found dead on a hill in Brazil. Both were wearing lead masks on their faces. There was no sign of any violence on their bodies, and nobody knew who had placed them there. What was the reason behind placing lead masks on their faces? Who put them there, and why were they wearing lead masks? These questions may arise in your mind after hearing this horrific incident. So let us take you back to the 1960s in Brazil, where a similar case shook the whole country. It was October 1966, when residents of a small town woke up. The sky was clear, the sun was shining, and the weather was great. But little did anyone know that on this very day, something creepy would happen. In the evening, people were returning to their homes after a long day at work. Some were passing by Morro do Hill near Rio de Janeiro when suddenly they saw something strange on top of the hill. 2 men lay on the ground in front of them. One of the men was lying on his back, and the other was lying on his stomach. At first they thought they were just resting, but when they got closer, they realized it was not the case. Both the men were dead. People informed the police about the matter, and soon a team reached the spot. The police were also surprised to see the dead bodies on the hill. Because the way they were lying raised many questions, both the men were wearing jackets and raincoats. Their faces were covered with crude lead masks. When the police removed the masks, they realized the men had no faces. The insides of the masks were filled with cotton, and the edges were sealed with wax. Not only this, a strange note was also found near them. It said, "At 4:30 p.m., swallow the capsule. After the effect, metal protection will be assigned." What was that capsule? Why did the men have to swallow it? And what kind of metal protection were they talking about? Nobody could answer these questions. Even after searching the area, the police could not find the capsule. The only clue they had now was the 2 lead masks. When the news spread in the town, people gathered there in large numbers. They were shocked to see the condition of the dead bodies. Soon the police took the dead bodies for post-mortem. According to reports, the men were identified as Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel Viana. Both were electricians and lived in the same neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro. The question arises, why did the police have trouble identifying the dead bodies? It was because there was no face left to identify. The police had to identify them through their fingerprints. But an interesting thing is that even after the post-mortem report, many questions were left unanswered. The report said that the cause of death could not be ascertained. No marks of struggle or external injuries were found on the bodies. Also, no evidence of poison or any lethal substance was found. But then how did the electricians die? Was there any foul play? Or was it just a tragic accident? Well, it's hard to say. But the bizarre thing in the case is that before going missing, both the electricians had told their families that they were going to buy equipment for work. Could the case be linked to their job? Did they accidentally come in contact with lethal electric current? Or was there some other reason behind their deaths? Well, there are many theories regarding this, but nobody knows what really happened. The most popular theory says that both the electricians were associated with a secret society. This society was linked to UFOs. Or some occult cult. So when they went missing, people started believing that they must have been taken away by aliens. You must have heard that aliens use people for their experiments. Maybe something similar happened with the electricians. They might have been taken to a UFO where they were tortured to death. Maybe the lead masks were used by them to protect themselves from the harmful effects of aliens, or maybe from radiation. But this is just a theory. There is no concrete evidence to prove it. Another theory is that the 2 electricians willingly participated in a mass suicide. Maybe they believed that by doing so they would be able to contact extraterrestrials. For this, they made those lead masks to protect themselves from the spiritual experiment. In simple words, we can say that they made those masks to save themselves from the consequences of their own actions. But why would they want to contact the extraterrestrials? And how could they even do that? Well, again, there is no answer to these questions. The third and final theory is that the case was never a murder. Rather, it was just a part of a bigger murder plot. Some experts believe that somebody purposely killed the electricians and made it look like a suicide. Whoever did this wanted to hide their real crime. The murders of these electricians were just a diversion for them. Maybe there was some valuable information stored on the hill which the killer wanted to steal. But if that's true, why hasn't the person been caught yet? The police investigation failed to find any clues. All their efforts to dig out the truth from the case proved futile. Let us get back to the case files and see what the Brazilian police did to solve the mystery. When the police reached the spot, they sent the bodies for autopsy and to find out what was inside the capsule. The autopsy report revealed that the electricians were not poisoned. Besides, no mark of struggle or external injury was found on their bodies. Not only this, their clothes were neatly folded and arranged, which further strengthened the theory of a planned murder. The police found traces of quinine in their blood, a drug used to prevent malaria. It was assumed that the electricians had taken the capsule a few hours before their death. As for the contents of the capsule, the report said it contained only a white powder. But even after putting all their efforts, the police could not find out what was written on the capsule. All they could find was the manufacturing batch number. Later, the police contacted the company that manufactured the capsules, but they refused to reveal the details, citing confidentiality rules. Was this move to hide the truth, or were they really bound by some rules? Well, there is no answer. With all the evidence collected, the police concluded that the electricians died after swallowing a capsule. But the question still remained: what was inside that capsule? As for the lead masks, the police could not find any record of the place from where they were purchased. As for the note, the handwriting on it could not be matched with either of the victims. And those who knew the victims claimed that the handwriting was not theirs. You might wonder, why didn't the police arrest the person whose handwriting matched the note? Well, the sad truth is that the police never tried to find the person whose handwriting matched the note. It's not mentioned anywhere in the case files. The last page of the case file reads: "The circumstances surrounding the death of the deceased persons have not been clarified. However, considering the advanced state of decomposition of the corpses and the lack of material evidence, it is considered that there is no prospect of elucidating the facts, especially considering the lack of technical means at the time." Simply put, the Brazilian police could not solve the mystery because the body had begun to decompose rapidly. Besides, there was very little physical evidence in the case. There was no weapon and no witnesses. Therefore, it is evident that the case remains unsolved even after more than 50 years because of the lack of evidence. But some believe that the police intentionally left the case unsolved. The bizarre nature of the case frightened everyone. The idea of being chased by a mysterious force beyond human comprehension terrified the police officers. Some believe that the officer in charge was removed midway for trying to dig deeper into the case. Well, whatever the reason, the case was closed without any answers. The story of the lead masks became one of the most famous mysteries of the 20th century. It gave birth to several theories, movies, books, and podcasts. Until today, people are afraid to wear lead masks because they remind them of the horrific events of 1966. We bring you the most amazing and horrifying stories from around the world. So subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos so you don't miss any updates from us. Let us know in the comments section, what do you think really happened to those electricians? We hope you enjoyed the video. If yes, show us by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel.